Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Ray Pastor, and today I'm going to talk about Runkeeper on the Apple Watch 3, and I'm going to compare it to Garmin. Um, so the first thing I'm going to do is talk about, what you see when you see a run. This is a run I just did this morning, a nice jog. It was a little cold out, so I kind of took my time, nice little 2 mile run that I do around my neighborhood. And basically, so the first thing I want to talk about is once you do a run, and I've logged about 20 runs with Runkeeper, testing it out. Just to see kind of how it works. You can see the basic stats on the screen. You can see there are some differences in like the distance by 0.01, but really that's not much of a difference. I could see a number of reasons why GPS could be off by 0.01, so I think they're pretty comparable. As far as what you see on the screen, I was using my vivosport for this, but if I was comparing it more Apple Watch to, I'd probably you want to use the vivoactive. They both show about the same thing. Each one shows the distance, pace, heart rate, speed, the important things that you want to see while you're actually running. They both showed that. So on watch faces, I was very pleased with both devices, being happy. And this is basically what they show on the main screen once you're done running. All right, if I go in and zoom and look at the maps, you can see that on Garmin, I can choose standard, hybrid, or satellite. On Runkeeper, you just have this option. However, when you do log into their website, because they do have a website version, you can see the satellite version. And if we were to even zoom in further and further, both of the GPSs are pretty much on target. They're both pretty accurate with one another. Even like from the side of the street, when I zoomed in very closely, even like looking at the side of the street, they're both very, very close to one another. So I was very happy with that. I think both did a good job of tracking my run. I thought they did a good job, each of them. All right, then we get into actually analyzing your run, seeing what what you see once you're done running. So on the left-hand side, I have Garmin's. Right side, I have Runkeeper. As you can see, they both basically showed the same kind of stuff for the most part. So for Garmin, we can see the pace, and for the Runkeeper, we also see the pace. Pace was very close. It's a little different, but you can see that the pace was a little different. And then next on Garmin, we have heart rate. When we look at the heart rate in the uh, Garmin versus Runkeeper, you can see that they're very, very similar heart rates. You can see that when you look at the numbers, the number on the Runkeeper average was 141, whereas the average heart rate in Garmin was 146. Maximums were the same at 166. It's not shown here, but it's shown when I zoom in and actually look at it online. I can see that the maximum was 166. You look at the elevation. Elevation is very similar as well. The one thing that the Garmin does show that Runkeeper does not is cadence, which is a nice thing to be able to see. Just to see how, what your stride is like. This was a nice, easy run for me, but my stride was still decent. It was all in the green for Garmin's. All right, and this is another thing. This actually wasn't from this run because I was testing with the Vivo Sport, but when you use the Vivo Active and Garmin, they also show you your heart rate zones. This is not something you'll see just in the app at Runkeeper. Just telling you basically how much time you spent in each zone. All right, now something weird happened during my run with Runkeeper. So at one point in my run, for about, I'd say a good half mile, my heart rate suddenly dropped to 95 on my Apple Watch. Runkeeper app was showing my heart rate at 95. And Garmin was keeping it steady at about 130 something at the time. And then at another point in my run, when Garmin was showing my heart rate about 150, the Apple Watch was showing my heart rate at 174. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And it wasn't just at 174, it stayed there. And when it was at 95, when it dropped to 95, it actually stayed at 95 for a good half mile without budging. Now, what's really interesting about this is that while this was happening, if you go back and look at my heart rate, on the right here we have Runkeeper, you can see they don't recognize that 95 drop, and they don't recognize that max of 174. But when I go into Apple's health app, I see the 174 max right when I was doing the run. I could see it on the screen. So Apple recognized that max. Runkeeper did not. Additionally, and right here's Runkeeper again, when I look at my heart rate in the Apple Activity app, so this is Runkeeper importing to Apple Health, during that run, I can see the drop where it just wasn't recording a heart rate. And that must have been when it was saying 95. And then I can see it going up to 174 in Apple Health. This is right from what Apple Health is showing my Runkeeper app. The Runkeeper activity in Apple's Activity app showing that 174 heart rate. But in Runkeeper, they're not actually showing it. And the Runkeeper data mimics what Garmin is showing as well. The high of 166 never went past 170, no drops. So this is very, very interesting, and I'm not sure if it's an error on Runkeeper's fault or Apple's. I don't really know. It's weird when you're using something third party, you get these discrepancies. But during my run, it was on 95 for about 3 minutes, my heart rate without moving, which is about, half a mile or just a little less than that. And then, it did go up to 174 on the watch in the Runkeeper app on the watch, but Runkeeper didn't record that, and Apple is showing it. So it's a very strange phenomena, and the Runkeeper data correlates with Garmin. So something went on there in between Runkeeper and Apple. There's some communication problem. I do think it's probably a software issue within Apple Health, the way their watch is being read, but I don't know, and I don't know if Runkeeper is adjusting the heart rate at all. But it was very weird that there are these discrepancies between Apple's data and Runkeeper's and what I was seeing on my watch. All right, then in addition to that, so those were the statistics that they each showed. Now, on the left here are more statistics that Garmin has. You can see Garmin has a plethora of statistics, and these are just the statistics for the vivosport that it shows. But we can see we have, just broken down a little more, like speed, moving time, cadence, basically some of the same stats that I was able to see in my graphs, but written out in an easy to read format. If someone doesn't want to do that, look at it that way. And then, but over here on the right, we have Garmin and Runkeeper showing my splits. And this is another odd thing. You can see that for mile 1, it's showing my first mile is 8:43, whereas Garmin's showing it at 8:51. But then, so the Runkeeper showing my first mile being 8 seconds quicker than Garmin's. But then on the second mile, Garmin's showing my mile be faster than, and Apple Watch is showing it slower. So there's some discrepancy there in my actual split times, which is very strange as well. And just so to note, I've compared this actual vivosport to the Apple Watch Activity app and not had these discrepancies. With either the heart rate, no heart rate discrepancies, and I've not had any discrepancies in my splits either. So I think that might be on Runkeeper's end, but it was just very strange how those things happen. All right. Now, Runkeeper does offer the option to upgrade. But some of the things that I found about this when I tried to look into their upgrade is, so on their app, all they tell you, so I would upgrade if they gave me more statistics, but I can't find anywhere that they actually really give you any more statistics than what I was able to see on the screen. So when you click on the app, what you see on the right here, this is what it tells you. You get to see, if you pay for the app, you get to see some training plans, deeper insights, like checking your progress, like making comparisons from 1 month, 3 months, and workout comparisons, highlight personal bests and stuff like that. I didn't see anything about statistics. Then when I go onto the website and compare the two, I do see that it just says basic stats, but I don't see anywhere that it said advanced statistics. I searched around their website quite a bit and on the web, and I couldn't find anything either. So it seems like when you pay for the app, you just get, insights, you can compare workouts, You can create your own workout and create a training plan, get a weather insight, and live tracking. This is all stuff you can mostly do with Garmin automatically on the web. Um, but they do charge in Runkeeper for it. It seems like it's $40 a year for that stuff. But I couldn't find out details of what they had. When I did, I searched their blog and I searched their troubleshooting and knowledge base a bunch, and all that I could really find were descriptions of what these words were, what they really did. But I couldn't see anywhere where it provided more stats like Cadence or anything like that, VO2 max, nothing like that. And bringing up VO2 max, something that's interesting is that so on Garmin's devices, you get VO2 max from running outside. Same with Apple. The problem with Apple is that if you're using Runkeeper and Runkeeper doesn't show VO2 max, it won't show up on your Apple Health app either, because Apple requires you to use their workout app in order to calculate VO2 max, so it won't be there. Um, just take note of that. And then finally, so overall, I thought Runkeeper is a nice app. I think that the free version does a great job of giving you a lot of the same type of information that Garmin does. They did have a web interface, which I really, really thought was nice. It's simple, but it's nice. I can scroll through, look at my charts, and see basically all the same stuff that I could see here. These kind of charts and graphs. They did give you the ability in that app to actually see your GPS. You could also export your data, which is something very important if you want to import it to Strava or Training Peaks or anything like that. You can pull all of your files. So I like that they have a web interface. I didn't think it was worth paying for their service just because I don't think a lot of this stuff, I think if I was using their app exclusively, it'd probably be worth paying for. But a lot of this stuff isn't the type of stuff that I like to look at. I'd rather export my data and view it, be able to compare it myself, or look at it in Garmin Connect and be able to compare, or Strava or something, to do those comparisons. However someone wants to do it. But, I did think that what they offered for free was pretty good, and I thought it was better than what Apple offers in their workout app. So overall, I had a good experience with it besides the discrepancy in the heart rate, which I thought was very strange.